2019년 5월 25일 Doctor Strange by Marvel Studios. Chapter 4 Inside Karma Taji, a silent ancient one consults with some of her fellow masters of the mystic arts. The debate was calm, but clearly the group had strong opinion. Many came seeking Karma Taji, few found it. Even fewer were worth learning its secret, and even fewer of those were worthy of the teaching she could offer. So why she wish no consult so often to wisdom in other perspectives. Now the conversation was over. Thank you, masters, she said as they vanished through portals back to their homes away from Karma Taji. She could feel Murdo watching her. You think I'm wrong to cast him out? 5 hours later, he's still on your doorstep, Murdo said. There's a strength on him. To him. Stubbornness, arrogance, ambitions. The ancient one stood as a pedestal. A small instrument sat atop. It gave her a view of the different planes of reality. Project at the very globe above her. I've seen it before. Murdo knew what she was thinking. He reminds you of Cassilius. I cannot lead another gifted student to power only to lose him in the darkness, the ancient one said. You didn't lose me, Murdo pointed out. I wanted the power to defeat my enemies. You gave me the power to defeat my demons and to live within the natural law. We never lose our demons, Murdo. We only learn to live above them. He understood the warning in her words. As soon as one started to believe demon was defeated, one stopped looking for them. He decided to change the subject. Cassilius still has the stolen pages. If he disappears them, he could bring ruin upon all of us. There may be dark days ahead. Perhaps Karma Taji could use a man like Strange. Don't show me out, Strange begged. I have nowhere else to go. He said it over and over, and no one answered. Eventually, he sank down and sat back to the door. He was done. Just then, the door opened and Murdo held him inside. Strange scrambled to his feet. Thank you, he said, on the verge of tears, without a word. Murdo led him through the temple to a room. It was dim and small, but clean, and Strange felt something he wasn't used to feeling. Gratitude. Thank you, he said it again. Not just to be polite. The ancient one's pigeon had shaken something loose in him. He was seeing things he had never seen before. He had hope. Bad, Murdo said as he lit a stick of incense to freshen up the room's musty air. Rest, meditate if you can. The ancient one will send for you. He handed Strange a slip of paper with the word Shambhala right on it. What's this? My mantra? The Wi-Fi password. Murdo said from the door. He cracked a smile just barely. We're not savages. Wi-Fi. Strange thought. He could contact Christian, tell her what he had seen. Looking at the watch she had given him when they were together, he turned it over. It was all he had left from the day he'd left New York. It was all he had left from his time with her. On the back was her inscription. Time will tell how much I love you. He set the watch down. Time, he thought. He wanted to talk to her. But for one of the few times in his life, he wasn't sure what to say. He was still thinking about it when the agent one called for him and began his study. The language of the mystic art is as old as civilization. She began. They were kneeling, facing each other in her study. The sorcerers of antiquity called the use of this language spells. But if that word offends your modern sensibilities, you can call it a program. With a gesture, she drew a line of energy in the air, bright orange and sparkling. The line rotated, opening into a circle. She flicked her wrist and the square appeared round the circle, the smaller circle in its corner. The source codes the shapes reality. We harness energy drawn from other dimension of multiverse to cast spells, conjured shields, and weapons to make magic. The center circle began to turn as if the entire figure was not just a symbol but a magical machine of some kind. With a small push, she made the floating symbol expand into 3 dimensions, bulging towards Strange. He watched as so astonished, then she let it fall away. But even if my finger could do it, my hand would just be waving in the air. I mean, how do I get from here to there? How do you get to retach several nerves and put a human spine back together bone by bone? Study and practice. Years of it. From her look, he understood that he had just answered his own question. Study and practice. Strange thought. He could do it. The first thing she did was turn him loose in Karmataj's library. Strange read what she suggests and said lead him to other books. When he had finished one armload, he brought them back to the library and got more. The second time he made the trip, a blocky Asian man stood at the reading table near the library entrance. Behind him was another door magically guarded. Strange didn't know what was on the other side, but he hoped to find out soon. Hey, he said, and set the books down. The librarian said what strange figure he must be. Looked up. Mr. Strange, he said. So it's weird how everybody knew him here, even so he didn't know any of them. Stephen, please, and you are Wong. Wong? Strange repeated. Just Wong? Wong did not look impressed at his joke. Strange tried another single named person, like Aristotle. Still no reaction. Wong waited for Strange to run out of steam. Then he turned his attention to the books. The Book of the Invisible Sun, Astronomia Nova, Codex Imperium, Key of Solomon. You finished all of these? Yup, Strange said. He was a fast reader and a fast learner. After another long considering look, Wong said, "Come with me." Strange followed him into another part of the library. This section is for masters only, but amid this distraction, others may use it. He pulled a book from the shelf. We should start with Maxim's primer. How is your Sanskrit? I'm fluent in online translators. Wong handed him the book. Read it, Classical Sanskrit. Strange saw a row of books high on the wall. Each had a seagull on the cover that glowed with power. What are those? The Ancient One's private collection. So their forbidden knowledge in Karmataj is forbidden. Only certain practice. Those books are far too advanced for anyone other than the Sorcerer Supreme. Strange went to the books and opened one. He did not understand the alphabet it was written in, let alone the language. It had fallen open to a gap where he could see page torn out. This one got page missing. That's the book of Cagliostro, the study of time. One of the rituals was stolen by a former master, a zealot called Caecilius, just after he strung up the former librarian and relieved him of his head. Wong paused for that to sink in. Then he took another book from a nearby shelf. I'm now the guardian of these books. So if a volume from this collection should be stolen again, I'd know it. And you'd be dead before you ever left the compound. His point made, he hands the book to Strange. What if it's just overdue? Any late fees I should know about? Maybe, perhaps, he gave up. People used to think that I was funny. Still completely deadpan. Wong said, did they work for you? Ouch, Strange thought. Oh, alright. He gathered up the stack of books Wong had chosen for him. Well, it's been lovely talking to you. Thank you for the books and for the horrifying stories and for the threat upon my life. Cassilius and his lots stood in the sanctuary of a London cathedral. He unfolded a leather case containing the pages he had taken from the Book of Cagliostro and selected one showing an ominous rune. He and the zealot all had the same rune on their foreheads now, a symbol of their devotion to their task. Now we receive the power to destroy the one who betrayed us. Cassilius said as he set the page on the floor. He drew the rune in the air above it, blood-red and pulsing, the one who betrays the world. When he had completed the rune, he and the zealots chanted the ritual, repeating the prayers of power that would draw the dark being whose runes they watched and tell him they were devoted to him. Across the barrier between his world and the dark dimension, Cassilius felt responsible. Power flowed through at him, and the floor around the page began to fold itself into magical pattern. He looked up and swept his arm through a gesture he had learned from the Ancient One. Gestures that he would soon use to destroy her. The cathedral's walls and stained glass windows folded and twisted into new shapes, strange geometries no human had ever seen. Yes, Cassilius thought. The ritual was working. Stormaro had heard their call for aid and answered it. Chapter 4. Doctor Strange.